Hello everyone! I recently watched Nadu Was Inevitable by Tomer over on MTG Goldfish, and wow, did it really unmuddle a lot of the complex feelings I've had recently about Magic as a whole. I'm not going to quote the whole video at you, but it's not really about Nadu. It's more about product fatigue and the recent surge in malignant power scaling. These two pain points are something basically everyone in the Magic sphere share, but thinking about them with more clarity brought to mind a very specific way of playing Magic that, unlike any other format, has been completely devoid of these annoyances. A format that I'm going to try and convince you to play if you haven't already. Cube. For the uninitiated, Cube is basically a format where you create your own Magic set from existing cards for the purpose of drafting it online or in person. You, the Cube designer, shape 100% of the experience. It's easy to see how those earlier stressors fade away with this much control. For starters, product fatigue doesn't matter. In Commander and 60 card, you need to keep up with every new release so you know what your opponents are doing and how to upgrade your deck to match them. If you don't keep up with the constant spoiler season, you're going to get left behind. Since in Cube, everyone is playing with the same cards, you can take your time updating your list. This lets you take each release at your own pace, not at Wizards. This deck building only with the cards you choose for the Cube means that you dictate the power level completely as well, for all players involved. In Cube, you can also run all the cards that have basically been evicted from the Commander format. Cube is the home for the jankiest of jank cards that can't find a home anywhere else. A role EDH used to fill, but doesn't anymore. At least not without a lot of Rule Zero with a playgroup you're familiar with. The best part about Cube is that there's no wrong way to build one. There are no rules besides the ones that you make, so you basically have free reign to shape whatever experience you want to have. Do you want a drafting environment with only black cards? What about one with only commons? Do you want a cube themed around a certain plane? If you have a big enough collection, you could probably build a cube with it right now. Even if you don't, since Cube can actively make good use of cards that are completely unusable today for any other application, it can end up costing you well less than a Commander deck to build one. The freedom you have over your Cube doesn't stop at card selection. You also shape all the drafting rules, allowing you to add your own special flair to your Cube. Like, look at this Cube here for instance. It has a special rule that you can put any number of the card Ornithopter in your deck, and has a list curated around synergizing with Ornithopter as a card. Unique play experiences like this are only possible in Cube, and make it so that even those who don't typically enjoy normal drafting can build an environment that they would be interested in playing. When designing my small cube of 240 cards for my playgroup, it honestly felt like building an extra large 5-color Commander deck, finding cards to include that would be wanted by multiple archetypes. If you're the type of player that spends more time brewing decks than you play, I cannot stress how much fun you'll have designing a cube. I promise. Please, give it a shot. Even if you don't like the idea of taking on all the work of designing a cube yourself, that's okay, since there's already a whole host of cubes out there that are already built, waiting for you to draft them. Take one and play it with friends. Even if the cube isn't totally perfect for you, there's nothing stopping you from making swaps to the list to better suit your needs. Eventually, with enough of those swaps, and enough time, oops, you, by way of Ship of Theseus, designed your own cube, perfectly tailored for you and your friends to draft in. A lot of you play Commander. You get 4 people together every week or so to play already, so listen to my request here. Try to build or get your hands on an existing cube that interests you, and draft with your pod in place of a Commander game one night. For 4 players, draft 5 packs of 9 cards. Banter about what you open, build a deck, and jam some games to see whose deck comes out on top. You're also able to draft some cubes that have multiplayer in mind if you don't want to separate your playgroup into 1v1 games. I mean, what's the worst case scenario here? You're down a few bucks and have about 60% of the fun you would have normally had that night and decide to go back to EDH? Best case scenario is you've now found a new way of playing Magic with your friends that's completely unshackled from all the worst parts about the game. Sounds like a pretty high floor and ceiling to me. And it can even have a higher floor if you just, some of the cards that you don't have already. I hope I've convinced you to try Cube at this point. Now let me make it easy for you to follow through. I mentioned earlier that you could play Cube online. If you do so, you can use Draftmancer to make a lobby for you and your friends to join. Once everyone is in, you just have to upload the card pool from a text document, and from here, you can set the number of packs each player gets and how many cards are in those packs. If you're interested in playing a 1v1 Winston draft, you can find that option under this game mode section here. All the information you need to try Winston is also readily available in Draftmancer to read if you're unfamiliar. It's very fun. No matter the rules you use, after your draft, you can either build your deck in whatever deck building software you enjoy, or directly in Draftmancer and export it to whatever platform you like playing with. Playing in paper is way simpler. All you need to concern yourself with is sleeving up the cube and making sure you have enough reserve basic lands for people to use. About 30 of each type is good. There are a couple resources for cubes that I'd be remiss not to mention. Cube Cobra is a great place to curate a cube or find one to play. I linked a couple I recommend for beginners down below, including my own for your consideration. Most of them have primers for easy understanding of their contents, and a few of them are budget. You can also use Cube Cobra to draft online with friends, similarly to how Draftmancer works, though it doesn't support Winston. Another thing I recommend is checking out LSV's YouTube channel. Luis Scott Vargas has been a personality I've been watching draft daily for a year now. Throw in one of his cube videos as background noise if you feel like you're more of a visual learner, or are a bit dubious if this whole thing is for you. I promise you'll fall in love just after a few videos. And there you have it, my plea for you to try Cube out. Let me know how it goes down in the comments below if you end up trying out a draft with your friends. Did I open up your eyes to the format? I hope if you've been feeling dread about the direction of Magic, that this video helped give you some hope and something to be excited for. Happy cubing, everyone, and until next time, bye!